on the ballot this November. It's been an issue for quite a while. Duval County schools need repairs and upgrades. The district says the money just isn't there, though. DCPS went so far as to sue the city of Jacksonville to get a half-cent sales tax on the ballot for this November's election. The money from that tax would go to funding physical maintenance and expansions at county schools, and also a citizen oversight committee would monitor the district's spending. Tonight, On Your Side's David Jones is looking at the proposed half-penny tax and also talking with backers of this referendum because this campaign now is starting to heat up. David?
Jeannie, school district leaders have long been trying to draw new attention to an aging problem. Duval County has on average the state's oldest schools, but no alternative revenue stream for when funding cuts come down from Tallahassee. That means millions of dollars in needed school repairs continue to pile up.
We've got schools that are almost 100 years old, and so you've got to update the electrical, the wiring, the drainage, the windows, the heating systems, those kinds of things.
Former Jacksonville Mayor John Delaney is one voice in support of the half-penny sales tax, part of the political action committee Duval Citizens for Better Schools, the group ramping up its voter outreach, distributing yard signs and campaign materials with a choice on the ballot less than 2 months from now.
Only about 20% of the voters at any one time have kids in public school, but 100% of the voters are impacted by the quality of the school system. And so the better educated our people are in a community, the more economically prosperous it is. So if you've got a sandwich shop, you don't have kids in public school, it impacts you too.
DCPS buildings have long been plagued with crumbling, outdated infrastructure and a backlog of maintenance needs. On top of that, a number of schools relying on portable classrooms to fit everyone in.
It's the consequence of years and years of budget cuts at the state level.
Stephanie Gary Garfunkel represents the Jacksonville Public Education Fund. She says right now the school district does not benefit from impact fees or a sales surtax, meaning budget decisions from Tallahassee can and have cut deep.
Duval County with this referendum is really just catching up to other counties, other big urban districts that have already sought a new source of revenue to improve school building.
And that backlog every day just keeps getting worse because we're underfunded. We don't have those other fees that other counties have.
Overall, Garfunkel says she feels it comes down to improving student outcomes by improving facilities.
Our district is a fraction of a percentage point away from an A district. Our educators and our students have been working very hard over the last decade to improve student achievement. And we're almost there, but what's holding us back right now is you would not know from looking at a building the quality of the education that's happening inside of it.
If the tax passes, the district says it would pay for more than $1 billion in major school repairs listed in its master facilities plan and would remove more than 400 portables at different campuses. Delaney tells me so far he has not seen any groups or political committees coming out against the sales tax, but he says that the supporters of the tax are working very hard to reach out to voters wary of the optics of any tax increase during a pandemic at a general election. So a very, very important issue that we'll continue to follow. For now, we're live at DCPS. David Jones, First Coast News, On Your Side.